It happened at lunch outside. This teacher touched my ear as a magic trick. I hated being touched, so I pushed him and pushed him over the table. You can't. That's crazy too. Teacher's fucking touching a kid and he gets pushed and he's surprised. Come on now. Tipped him over the table. Where's the center of gravity at? That's not your fault. That's not. He's got no. Okay, he's got no fucking sense. First of all, and he's got no CG. Come on. Maybe the teacher was a pedo. I don't know, and I'd rather not know. I have not seen him since. And hey, good for you, because if you don't push back, that's like I feel like that's how pedos kind of work. Is like they'll kind of try something small. That has to be how they. I mean, sure, you probably have some that just like get straight to it, but I feel like a lot of pedos would like start with like maybe like touching your ear or just like rubbing your head, and it's like okay, whatever. That doesn't necessarily mean they're pedo, but then they kind of slowly ramp it up from there. Like they find a kid that doesn't protest it, like a kid that doesn't push back or not fuck with it, and then go a little bit further and see if they push back and just progress from there. It's kind of fucking awful to think about, but I mean, shit. That's probably the fucking meta. I don't even want to say meta. That sounds terrible, but it probably is. It definitely is. Not that I would know. Dude, the real players be easier than the AI half the time at this point because I've progressed so far in Treasure Battle. Yeah, if I'm winning, I'm going to probably play all night. If I lose, I'm going to stop immediately. Oh, yeah, my gym coach freshman year stared at ninth grade girls wearing their short shorts. And that's one of my more crackpot conspiracy theories is like, well, maybe I don't have to put it that way. I've always had a grudge against school for a lot of reasons, and I didn't do that well at school, and that's probably the main reason. But also, especially when it comes to like really young kids, I just don't like how the system separates children from their parents to such an unnecessary extent. I feel like it's like, does your kid really have to, first of all, you're at work. Second of all, kids at school. Third of all, 8 hours. Your kid's at school like for damn near as long as you're at work, basically the whole day. If I remember, it's like 7 to 3. That's insane. You do not need to be at school for 7 to 3 every day, bro. You're spending more time around these fucking teachers, half of which are weirdos, than you do around your parents and your family. Like, it's just messed up. It's traumatic. Even if nothing bad happens, any other species on Earth, you take the fucking babies away from the parents, except for the ones where the babies are more self-sufficient. But like, you take the babies away from the parents, and it's a fucking problem, and it's traumatizing for them. Human babies need their parents more than fucking any other animal. They are so helpless for so much longer than any other animal. And here our society is, and our system and our culture is such that it separates the children from the parents and from the family to such an insane fucking degree. Unnecessarily. Like, there's nothing fucking happening in school, especially at that age, that is more important than fucking being with your fucking family. Nothing. And instead, you're fucking away from your family, and you have to get up at 7 a.m. You don't even see your fucking parents, and that's if they're home all the fucking time, which they're not. It's crazy to me. Like, half of that shit, it should be fucking homeschool with your mother. I'm getting riled up and I'm not going to be able to pay attention to this fucking fight. I was midway through talking about something. No, I'm going to fight better because I'm angry. It's just unnecessary. I just really don't feel like... I feel like we could find some way of structuring things to where parents are not separate from their kids all the fucking time. But yeah, it's just one of the things where it's like... And, okay, on top of everything that I said, also, you have school at a very young age. And it's like, bro... Anybody, anywhere in the country can go to any school in the country. They don't have to be like a known member of the community. Anybody can go anywhere and go fucking teach kids at school. Which is just crazy to me. Like, I just, like let's say somebody grows up in one town and they're kind of known as a creep, maybe they did some stuff. There's just like rumors going around and they probably wouldn't let him work as a teacher there. But he can go somewhere way the fuck like somewhere else in the country where people don't know him and be a teacher. And it's just like, I kind of feel like that inherently, that system, it's like all these young kids away from their parents, away from their family, and then any fucking adult can come and teach. And sure, if you have a record, then you have a record and you can't. But in order to have a record, you gotta have a record. You gotta have done something. And that's how you get to do something. Like, what if you could only be a teacher where you were like, where you grew up? So people are gonna fucking know about you, right? That seems fair to me. Like I don't know if being a teacher needs to be the fucking same as all these other jobs. Like you sure if you're gonna work on an oil rig, okay, you can do that wherever you want. But if you're gonna be a teacher, maybe that is only allowed to happen kind of in your community. And could that cause some issues? Sure. But I think that they would be better issues, whatever it happens, than the issue of, I mean, I think I explained myself pretty well. It's like you can you basically have access to kids, is what it is. And there's no fail-safe against that until you've already done something. I just feel like maybe if you could only be a teacher where people fucking know you and where you grew up, that could help. Because people know you're a fucking freak, right? Your anger rant just hit home for me. I damn near teared up. My family was pretty stable until 2018, not going to go into reasons, and I didn't think about it at all, especially with predator teachers. Yeah. It just seems bizarre to me because, I mean, the first thing you could think is like, oh, well, we live in a capitalist country, capitalist culture, uh, and that's just how capitalism works. There's this big school system, and you go to school and you get qualified for this or that job. Okay, sure, like, yeah, it's like part of the system, but like, I think about it and it's like, surely if you were to change the system so that kids are with their families more and people are like less atomized like that and separated and isolated like that, in a lot of ways, not just that, then people would form stronger bonds. You would have a lot less mental health issues because you're not effectively abusing children. Like I said, even if they don't get, raped or assaulted at school, just the act of separating them from their parents, separating from their family, is inherently traumatic at a young age for basically every species. Like, we know this, and especially for human beings. There is no species on Earth that I can think of that has more vulnerability psychologically and physically at a young age. Like other animals, they're like ready to go, ready to hunt within like weeks, months, right? And sure, they have shorter lifespans, but yeah, still, you get my point. And it's just that you would think that if you were to allow human beings to kind of exist a little bit more like they're supposed to and not destroy them to such an extent, that it would actually be more economically productive because it fucking would be. Because people would be having more kids because kids are actually getting raised and people don't have awful childhoods that make them not want to have kids. So you have more people, they are going to work harder. Like I just don't see how even from the mindset of like profit, I don't see how it makes sense. I think it's less profitable. And this is the kind of thing that gets me like thinking about stuff. And I'll tell you right now, I have a very just the way that I am, a very conspiratorial mindset, conspiratorial way of thinking. The thought of not detecting a threat scares me more, and dealing with it scares me more than uh potentially the thought of not detecting a threat scares me more than the thought of like wrongfully persecuting something that you think is a threat, just in general. And that's what causes you to have more conspiratorial mindset because you're less afraid. I mean, I still don't want that to happen, but it's like your cognitive bias, your psychological bias is such that you're more afraid of falling prey than you are of letting a predator run free, so to speak. And I'm speaking in terms of, nature and not literal, like, sexual stuff. But, like, my point is, it's not that I want innocence, anything bad to happen to innocent people. I'm just saying that there's like, in everybody's mind, there's a cognitive equation with all kinds of things that produce all kinds of mindsets. And one of the cognitive equations is like the balance of, are you more afraid of hurting an innocent or letting guilty go free in general? Speaking abstractly. Obviously, we can talk about this very specific subject, but that also applies to a lot of different things. Anyways, I hope that makes sense. And there is, the thing of like innocent before proven guilty, whatever. We could talk about this at length. But why am I not on my metallic rainbow here? Anyways, this is why I get conspiratorial about it. It's like, why is it like I just and sure maybe I have to bear in mind like the society we have now. I mean, humanity's been around for a long fucking time. Okay, things develop slowly. Not everything has to be on purpose. Okay, but some things are on purpose. And sometimes when things don't work and when systems are fucked up and people are getting hurt, sometimes it's because it's a mistake and sometimes it isn't. Sometimes things are working exactly as intended. And I have to bear in mind that my cognitive bias is to think in terms of conspiracy and think that everything is done either by man or by God or by Satan, and that there's no such thing as an accident. I try not to go too far with that mindset, but it can be good to think in that way because it causes you to see things you might not see otherwise. You can get all tinfoil hat about it, but other people kind of overcompensate and they get like stupid, and it's like there's like obviously evil things and they just don't register it and don't understand, or obviously intentional things. Anyways, I say all that to say, if it were purely about economic production, wouldn't it make more sense for people to be less abused? People would make more money if parents were not separated from their kids and kids not separated from their parents to the extent that they are in this system. And I understand things are slow moving and maybe school was created back then and maybe things are going to get better and we'll fix things. And maybe it's not on purpose. But all I'm saying is if it is on purpose, it kind of implies that the suffering caused by that is actually worth more than the economic profit. A lot of times people always think like, oh, it's all about the money. Oh, they just want to make money. Oh, the rich and powerful. Oh, the 1%. Oh, the world, people in charge just want to make money. All they care about is money. It's like, okay, yeah, that's probably true to a certain extent. All right. But I feel like those people are kind of missing the point a little bit because if all we gave a fuck about was money, I feel like things would be ran differently. And I feel like things would actually probably be better. You got to bear in mind that the most powerful people in the world do not give a fuck about money. They make the money. They print the money. They pull the strings on the people that print the money. You know, like they don't give a fuck about money. I'm of kind of a mind that like you get to like the top 1%, the really rich people, the rich and powerful. Yeah, they care about money. You know, but the people above them, I don't think that they care about money. I think they care about again. Maybe I'm just being a fucking nut job here. Maybe I'm just crazy. I think there's some truth to it. I mean, elites get corrupt, right? Does weird things to the mind. But I feel like the people at the top, the people that are really running things, I think they care about suffering. That's what I think. And maybe it's not like that. Maybe nobody's really in control. That's also possible. But I'm just bear with me here. Let me just talk. I kind of think they don't care about money. I think it's about suffering. When I look at things, that makes more sense. Fuck the money. The top 1% care about money. The top 0.1% do not give a fuck about money. The people that really pulling the strings don't give a fuck about money. Suffering is their money. The It's like harnessing like spiritual energy. I don't know. Dark energy. I don't know. Maybe they're like Satanists. I don't know. Don't ask me. All I'm saying is that the system almost seems designed to create misery. And it could be an accident. Okay. And it could be due for correction in time. You got to bear in mind there's been a lot of changes very recently. The internet didn't even barely exist when I was born. But by the time I was walking and talking and hanging out, it was in every home. New technology is starting to not be all that new or all that innovative. It's kind of starting to even out, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we're going to start to realize that technology isn't everything. We need to start addressing some of these issues um, that are more human, because that's the real limit now. That's the real ceiling. I was born a year before YouTube. Exactly. I was born in 2001. I can't remember when YouTube was started, but by the time I remember, by the time my earliest memories, it was ubiquitous, the internet and everything, YouTube. I look at the system the way it is now, and I just don't. I see a system that's literally optimized to like torture people as much as possible, without torturing them enough to cause a collapse. That's what I see. When I look around, that's what I see. I see it like it's almost been specifically, purposefully engineered to torture people and to create dark energy and to hurt people spiritually, mentally, psychologically, but without going so far as to tip the balance and cause a reset to happen. That's the impression that I get. I don't know for sure if that's the case. I could be fucking crazy. Like I said, we're just talking. I just want you to bear with me while I kind of talk about that. But like, it's just a thought that I have sometimes. When I look around, that's what I see. When I look at my life, that's what I see. Like, the problem nowadays, okay, if you have any amount of money to get beyond like the basics, like especially if you're like middle class or upper class, especially when you're growing up, the hard part is not being able to do something or being able to do what you want. The hard part is wanting something, right? It's like it's all moves to the mind. Once you get rid of the material concerns, it's all about the mind. And once it comes down to the mind, weird things start happening. It's like it just seems like if we just had a little bit more appreciation for the human element in the way things are designed and engineered in our culture, that we would be it would be like unrecognizable the level of civilization we would be at. Like, but there's just these, like I said, just these the different things like the atomization. Like, why break the bonds between people? Even economically, I just don't think it makes sense. Like, yeah, you can move this person there, move that person there. Like, sure, maybe that's good in like the short term, but I just think economically overall, it's poison. You're poisoning people, and it's not a profit. It could only be a profit for the people that want to cause suffering and chaos and hurt for whatever reason. YouTube started in April 2005, so I was born like 4 years before. And you were born 1 year after. But how much of a difference does it make? We don't even remember back then, right? I mean, we were basically in the same situation, more or less. Because by the time I can remember everything, YouTube was there. YouTube is like one of the first things I remember. YouTube also fucked me up, not just the Go anime videos, but it's where my giant test fetish was born because these motherfuckers would post unrestricted videos of these giant chicks destroying cities, and for someone like me who got curious about that shit, it was not a fun time to be 10 to 11. Damn, dude. And that's the other thing I don't get. That gets me like conspiratorial. And I think we talked about this before at the same screen in the game. It's like, why the unrestricted internet access so young? It's like ubiquitous. Like everybody, it happened to everybody of our generation. It's like, why? I mean, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't. It's like I said before, that just seems like it would have been like, oh, we had this new technology, and maybe the kids don't need to be on that until they're older. And a part of me is like, oh, well, with the next generation, right? We've kind of learned our lesson. And then I see kids that are on iPads in the single digits. And it's like, damn, and I don't know if I mentioned this last time. Did I mention, okay, you're born in a generation, every generation has something that was like either manifested itself in a new way or hadn't been seen before. But either way, it takes people by surprise, I would like to think, and it has an effect on that generation, right? Some are negative, some positive, but you get my point. And that generation grows and they have kids and they remember what happened and they react accordingly, right? But when you have something that fucks people up so badly that during their childhood that they don't want to have kids and they don't have kids later, then it's like, well, the ones that it happened to, it's like a part of me wants to have kids because I know I could protect them at least from what happened to me. Like I know the dangers, but the other part of me is like my childhood was so ruined and fucked up, and my upbringing, like my parents were okay, but like the things that I know about fucked me up so much that I don't like want to have kids because I'm just in such a negative place mentally and spiritually. And it's like, okay, fair enough, but also because I don't have kids, I can't pass on that lesson. And it's like if something fucks people up so badly they don't have kids, then it's like the information does not get passed down. It's like the only people that have kids are the people that it didn't happen to. And I know that's not true. I know at least some people that struggle with the things I struggle with are going to have kids. I've seen them do it or getting, fixing to do it. But it's like, what's the ratio? You would think that probably a lot of the people that have kids are probably normies that, it didn't happen to them or it happened, they didn't think about it, didn't care, didn't reflect. I don't know, man. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's just like the back and forth I have about having kids. I'm probably not going to because I'm just like, it's just too much. I don't get it. I forgot how I got introduced to this niche kink, but too long didn't read. I got curious. I ended up being aroused and fell down that whole rabbit hole. Yeah, same with me. It was just too early. And it sucks. Because, like, I've had pretty much every fetish under the sun. And I just wonder what would I even be like today if that didn't happen? Like, imagine if I'd never what is it like to have never been exposed to porn at a young age? A lot of people in this generation don't fucking know. Think about that. Who knows how big of is it not that big of a deal? Maybe it is for some people, maybe not for others, but I just think about that for myself. Like if I had never been exposed to porn, I just think my life would be I think my life would be unrecognizable. Or if I hadn't been exposed to it until later on. Yeah, I didn't even have a chance to develop. I saw porn before I even started puberty. I didn't have a chance. I was already hooked. And my parents were like good people. I had great parents. But if I were to have any criticism of them, it'd probably be that I mean, they had 3 kids, and I shut myself out. But, like, sometimes I wish that they didn't let me shut myself out because not even just porn, but just in general, like, just developing in general, I didn't develop, because of that, the way that I could have. And it's like they kinda respect my autonomy, and that's great, but also, like, I kinda wish that they didn't. Um, I just kinda feel like I would, like, go, play on the GameCube all day, and they would be like, "Oh, well, Drew's just on the GameCube, and that's fine." And, maybe forget about me. I would, shit, but, like, I don't know, if I were to hold anything against them, it would probably be that, and I don't think I hold them against them, but, like, I don't know, man. I was a difficult child, I could see why they wouldn't wanna deal with me all the time. I never reflected about my internet fiascos until just now because, like, outside of the internet, I luckily had a normal elementary school life. Well, YouTube and browsing on DeviantArt on my Wii U internet browser back in 2016, 2018, that shit actually hit hard even if I saw the weirder side of DeviantArt. Yeah, I remember I was on Tumblr. I was all over Tumblr. I wish I could find my old Tumblr account. That's when I got into like furries and stuff, and just everything. I was a feminist when I was younger, and that's how I got started with feminism was through Tumblr. I remember there was a virus that went around, or not a virus, but there was like that 4chan attack. Man, they said to delete System 32, and we were on System 32 is Windows, right? We were on Mac. There was like a post that said, "Oh, 4chan's hacking people's accounts. If you see System 32 on your computer, delete it." And I was a little goober back then. I didn't know what that meant. I looked up System 32, couldn't find it. I was like, "Oh, thank God I didn't get hacked." If we had a Windows computer, I would have deleted System 32 and bricked it back then. Those were the days, man. But it's weird. A part of me is like, I like that I basically was raised on the internet and I want to embrace it because it was great. I mean, there was great things about it. I probably wouldn't draw if it weren't for that. I probably wouldn't be as creative. But then there's just also the part of me that wonders how I would have turned out if I had never been so hooked on the internet and video games and all of that and that whole lifestyle. I appreciate being able to live probably a different life than what most people live. I have a very unique psychological architecture. Uh, you could say. I think it's miraculous that I'm even still around, like I said, because I was depressed for so long. But here I am, and I'm still more or less who I am. It's just, I don't know. I don't know, man. Something about seeing hot chicks destroying cities like fucking Godzilla is something special. Giantess is something I found interesting, but not sexually. I've been fascinated by like those illustrations, but it was never sexual for me. I didn't see it when I was that young. And it's also because it is like inherently it's non-sexual. Like most fetishes are like sex or nudity related, but a giantess is just like a really big girl. It doesn't have to be naked, doesn't have to be wearing, scantily clad clothing, or doesn't have to be scantily clad. It's one of those fetishes where it's like something that otherwise would not be sexual at all, which some fetishes are like, uh, and some aren't. But it's like otherwise not sexual at all. But if you have the fetish, then it is, which is just interesting. And even the concept of a fetish is kind of bizarre to me. Like, why does that exist? Why is it possible to get like hooked on something oddly specific? What like purpose does that serve? Because like, is it built in? I kind of don't think so. But also, like at the same time, like, okay, if you have a fetish, is that like something that you come out the box with? And who knows what kind of spiritual? It could be like spiritual in nature. I guess it would have to be if you come out the box with it, right? But it's like, do you? Like a part of me is like, no, you don't. Like you see stuff and it becomes a fetish for you. But like you can see this or that and not develop a fetish for it. You can see it in a sexual context and not develop a fetish for it. You either do or don't. It's a strange thing. Like it seems like it's not inherent, but also kind of seems like it is. Like 'cause somebody else might see a furry when they're really young, it's kind of hot, and not develop a thing for it, but I will. Or somebody might see a giantess when they're really young and not get a thing for it, but you will, or whatever. It's like, what's up with that? If you have a shit or fat fetish, you seriously need to seek a counselor. Yeah, I mean, I don't have every fetish. There's some that I'm glad I don't have. But also at the same time, there's a part of me that wishes that I did have every fetish because I'm so close, you know? It's like I have like almost every puzzle piece. I guess I don't find anything, there's almost nothing I find like that really puts me off or turns me off is the better way to put it. Like I might not have like a super crazy fetish for everything, but nothing really turns me off for the most part that I can think of. Almost everything is either I'm attracted to it or it doesn't really bother me, which is so fucked up. But I mean, it is what it is. I don't think there's anything I can look at that makes me like, ugh, That's what it is. There's stuff I can see that's like, okay, I wouldn't like jerk off to that. But there's almost nothing that I like viscerally react to. Like I feel like I could look at pretty much anything and not really be bothered by it because I've just been so raised on the internet and raised on porn that just doesn't affect me. Which is like I'm kind of proud of that, but I'm also kind of not because again, it's like where would I be if that wasn't the case? I don't know what it feels like to be disgusted by porn. I don't know what that feels like. I've seen too much. I don't have that sense of disgust, or at least I do, but it's extremely um muted. I just don't have that. I have like, that's not really what I'm into, but I don't like other people who have not been like conditioned like you or me will like see something that is like out there sexually and they'll be like, "Oh," like it like really it's like, "Oh shit," like, "Oh, that's gross." That's like, you know what I mean? Like somebody might see, "Oh, just Nismo Racer 000, welcome to the stream, just stopping by to say hi before trying to sleep." You joined in at the craziest possible time. You picked a crazy time to join the stream. We are talking about crazy. If we're talking about sexual fetish things, you might want to, if you're just going to go to bed, you might want to go ahead and do that. I'm gonna lay off the throttle here and give you a chance. Actually, I feel like we could probably stand to depart from the conversation we were having earlier. I feel like that was getting somewhere pretty extensive that I didn't really want to go. So let's just go and talk about. Have you played Road Trip Adventure, also known as Koro Q, HG2. No, I haven't. Oops, that's on me. It was because I'm just now realizing how screwed up I became starting in 4th grade, so my bad. You're saying you're just now realizing? You said that a couple times. If you're just now realizing, I want to, um, well, I want to tell you that I know how it feels to just now realize. It's bizarre, isn't it? Like, all this time, I feel the same way. It's like all you grew up with it because it's like so you never really thought about it because it was introduced so early. You grew up with it. It was just part of your normal, and it still is for me. And you never really thought it. And same thing happened to me. I I did not really think about it until 20 fucking 3, 24, 25. Recently. It was on me for starting this rabbit hole of a conversation. Oh, you're good, man. I appreciate that you started it because it's kind of helps me to talk about these things. I would have been probably silent this whole stream if you didn't if you didn't talk to me about this stuff or bring some stuff up. I mean, it's I don't know, man. Like I just want to tell you, I know how it feels to like suddenly realize, like, oh, this thing that I've been living with my entire life could have just not been there. And it's like, how do I feel about that? You know, it's like a part of me likes the way that I am and likes that I was brought up like this, but a part of me doesn't. And that's where I'm at now. And maybe that's where you'll be at. It's like, oh, like, damn, you know, like, and it's like, it starts with that first realization. It just gets more and more profound after that because it's like, fuck. It's something that just like, it keeps hitting you. You know, it keeps coming back for more. But don't think about it too much. Don't like fixate on the past. If you feel some type of way about it, then that's cool, and that can inform your decisions going forward. Don't fixate on it though, and it's gonna happen. If you're having the level of realization that I had, it's gonna happen. You're gonna probably beat yourself up about it. Fucking don't. Because all this shit happened before you even knew what it was. So just be like, all right, what now? Just no pressure, man. I mean, there is pressure, but you need to have a mindset of no pressure. You need to have a mindset of I'll say this until the day I die. The extent to which you should think about the past is only to the extent to which it informs your present decisions and your future decisions. Thinking about the past any more than that is poison that will kill you. So that's all I can say. That's probably the most important. If you don't remember anything else, just remember only think about the past as much as you need to inform your present and future decisions. That's it. Anything past that, it's like drinking too much alcohol. You're gonna fucking vomit it out and have to get back to baseline that way. You know? And decontaminate. And to get back to the lighter end of things, I do want to kind of move on from this. This is pretty heavy, you know. I feel like I've several times I've ended the stream on something extremely heavy. I think we could stand to lighten things up a little bit. Um, I can help you get set up on Xenia for Ridge Racer 6, Project Gotham Racing 3 and 4, Dead or Alive 4. Ridge Racer 7 is my favorite. I sometimes have difficulties with life sometimes, yeah. I do have self-hatred upon myself. I don't know why, lol. I don't know why either. Shit, even to this day, I still have self-hatred. I don't know why. But at least you recognize it as self-hatred as opposed to recognizing it as fact.